Welcome to another exciting episode of Budget Focus, and this time round we are featuring something from people who understand performance. The question is, do they still hold that thought until today, or do their cars have the same performance credibility they had back in the days today? If you're not buying the Honda Civic, if you think the Mazda Xela is too cute for you, if you believe the Volvo S60 is too expensive for you to keep, what other car can you buy? On this special episode of Conversation Budget Focus, we are looking at the Subaru Impreza G4. And here are 9 reasons why you should or should not consider totally buying the Subaru Impreza G4. Reason number 1, legacy. And this boils down to when Subaru came up with the racing division that you guys have as a common badge on any performance Subaru, and that is the STI, which stands for Subaru Tecnica Internazionale. Okay, that's the division that was down to forging out performance Subarus. And the legacy of the Impreza is one thing that people are quite proud of. And one reason you should buy that is you'll be driving around with a car that holds legacy. Reason number 2 on why you should buy the Subaru Impreza G4 is the looks. Let's look at how magnificent this car looks. Now, most manufacturers in this category, I'm talking about the Xelas, the S60s, the Civic, they're all going for curvy and smooth curves on their cars. But here comes Subaru. Now, what they do is they give you edges. Just aggressive bumper that has edges. If you look at this headlight, it's a hexagonal design of a headlight with an LED strip around it to just give you that allure look, especially when you put your daylight runnings on. This car looks magnificent and beautiful. I love the edges, and this is something that people will start debating. Oh, Toyota iliingia Subaru, ikaanza kuharibu. But overall, this car looks quite nice. And I agree, to some element, there's some Toyota-ness going on. You know, those edges, if you watch the review of the RAV4, you know, I'm talking about these ridges. If you watch the review of the Corolla Sport, you know about all the ridges and those things that are going on. And of course, Toyota owns a bit of Subaru. And with that, there has to come a bit of an influence here and there when it comes to design. But this car looks amazing. It's quite beautiful. Even coming back to the rear again, you have these rear taillights that are LED that are just protruding away from rear hood scoop. It just makes it quite aggressive. Of course, you have your G4 badge. Hapa chini uko na diffuser na exhaust tip moja. Hii inakaa kama carbon fiber. Okay, it's fake, but you know, it adds on to the looks. And then you have your symmetrical all-wheel drive. We will talk about features and why this car is one of the best in this category in terms of like overall build quality and just handling because of this. Okay, and I tend to think if you're looking for conservative, well-curved, well-ridged, well-defined car, the Subaru G4 is one of those. In fact, if you just slap on a few elements of performance, you can easily mistake it for a WRX. Reason number 3 on why you should consider buying the Subaru Impreza G4 is practicality, the build quality, and the cabin space at the same time. And these are things that the Subaru Impreza will offer. Against its competition, this car is quite well put out. You know, I love how it feels. You have your tire repair kit hapo, then you have your full wheel spare wheel. Okay, so hapo kuna ka donut, which is good. Most of these cars in this category are coming with a tire repair kit. And I love Subaru for this because they're giving you like a spare wheel plus a very practical boot space. I can literally disappear in here. So trust me when I say it's quite practical. In terms of the cabin feel, now roll the other side. It comes to the cabin space. Look at how humongous and huge this car feels, okay? This seat is slightly adjusted for a setup of Fabian. Fabian is around 5.8 inches, Mimi niko 6'2". 5.8 inches, kwani wewe ni mfupi aje? If I go inches, inakuanga how many, Fabian? Feet.
Rudi shule usome.
Inakuanga feet. Hey, I was 5.8. Okay, so it's 5.8 feet, not inches. Inches is when we are trying to measure something else, which I'll not talk about. So let's continue. So this is 5.8 feet. That is the size of Mr. Fabian, who was sitting here. And look at how practical that legroom is. Like huge. Hata nikiadjust nikirudisha nyuma, still I will be able to fit in quite comfortably. My headroom is good as well. And this somewhere, this is a thing that I feel this car stands out. If you compare this car to those I've mentioned, I believe this is the best in class. Hakuna gari ingine inashinda in terms of this cabin feel. This is the best. I know I love the 60 because of the premium material, but when it comes to the space, I believe the Subaru G4 is top. It's top. It's quite practical. And let me see if I get, you have your 2 cup holders, convenience. And one thing that I'll tell you is you'll also get this car with leather as an option. It depends with which trim you're buying. But of course, you know, the space is humongous. Let's check out the front and see how does it translate for the driver and the passenger. But overall, the build quality of this car is amazing. Like, it's not premium, but it's a build quality that will last forever. I told you, the Toyota-ness has started flowing into Subaru. So they're giving you plastic materials and leather that is quite soft to the touch. But these two things will last forever. And did I mention I have some fake carbon fiber going on? Yeah. So you have it there. But it complements the looks. It makes this car just feel a bit premium. And that's all you need when you're buying the G4. So build quality at the front is entirely the same. What you get at the rear, you get here. But there's something that they're doing here in terms of the design. So you can see there is a cockpit design. Everybody's doing this. Audi is doing it. I saw Mercedes-Benz are also doing it. And now Subaru are also doing it. In fact, even the Corolla Sport, Toyota, they're also doing it. Where they carve in the design of the dashboard. You can see that curve going on in across all the way, paka huko, which is quite good. It looks nice, but why are you guys copying each other? But the general build quality is good. This is plastic that will last forever. It's hard to the touch, and then this is plastic as well. Like it's plastic, but it's plastic that is not going anywhere. You can see I'm trying to shake. Like, the build quality of this car is awesome. Then on the steering wheel, you get a bit of leather around it just to make sure that you get a comfort feel when you're driving this car. But overall, that's what you get. It's a well put together car, and that's something that you get in the G4. I believe the other ones that are a bit premium, especially the Xela hapa mbele inakaa a bit softer and premium. But one thing I can tell you for a fact is, with this build quality, you know, nothing is going to break sooner. Like, you'll have this stick and look the same way 10, 15 years down the line. Let's talk about the practical available storage spaces. So number one, you get a glove compartment. And there's this thing that is hanging here that you guys can help me identify. I don't know what the hell this thing is. It even has a pocket. Get 2 cup holders. You get another storage compartment hapa where you can store your stuff, and it has a 12-volt socket that you can plug in. Then you get a huge door bin. Again, you can fit in my bottle quite well. And the same goes for the other side, which is pretty good. Again, you can store your phones here, which is good. It doesn't fit in well, but if you put it like this, it can fit. You have 2 USB charging ports and an extra 12-volt socket hapo mbele. That's all you get. Reason number 4 on why you should consider buying the Subaru Impreza G4. This is very serious. I am slowly growing myself into understanding that there are more important things than others when you're buying a car. And one of those things is safety and features. So in terms of safety, you get this car with standard Subaru eyesight, which is one of the best safety technologies that we have out there. Okay, so you have these two cameras here that help coordinate your lane departure, lane assist, emergency braking, which is quite dope. Now, away from safety, which is, as I said earlier, a very vital point, let's talk about the features. Of course, you get your normal cruise control features. Ziko hapa kwa multifunctional steering. You get your cruise control, your lane departure, lane assist. You can adjust the distance between the car in front of you and behind, which is quite dope. This is what you get to control infotainment system. So volume up, source, and all that. You can mute your volume. Perfecto. There we are good. Now, rolling away to the side, there is a button here written SRH and off. So what does SRH mean? It's simple. You know, Subaru have this complicated way of making their things, but it simply goes to steering, responsive headlights. You know, those we call, unasikia tukisema adaptive headlights, which can turn when you turn your steering, when you're going through curves, they can give you better illumination. And then if you turn to straight, they can also straighten up. Now, Subaru have made it possible to have that feature to be turned on and off. So steering, responsive headlights. That's what you get pale mbele, which is a very cool technology. You get your start-stop technology in case unaenda pale kwa traffic and you want it to shut off. You get your traction control. Most importantly, for those guys who are struggling to start your car when you're going up the hill, or you're going up a steep road during traffic, then you have your hill start assist that is purely and well placed there. You have poverty buttons here that Subaru decided you have to pay more to get something extra. But in terms of safety and features, this car is well put up for a budget, because this is not the highest trim. This is like the medium trim all the way to the highest. The more you go up, the better features you get. So let's talk about the last feature, which is quite important. Not only is it important on this car with the legacy it has, but it also beats most of the other cars. So what feature am I talking about? I'm talking about the symmetrical all-wheel drive system. These are legendary. We always say in the world right now, there are only two powerful all-wheel drive systems. You're either buying quattro or you're buying symmetrical all-wheel drive system. Hizo zingine ni punda. Reason number 5 on why you should consider buying the Subaru Impreza G4, of course, is reliability. And that comes down to what you get under the hood of this car. So when you're planning to buy this car, you can get them with 2 engine configuration. You either get a 1600cc or a 2000cc, both FB series of engines. So FB16, FB20. Now, this engine is a boxer engine. It's a flat 4. So sits like this. It's a boxer engine. It sits low. It gives this car a very good center of gravity. So in terms of handling, you realize this car handles quite well. That's number 1. Number 2, it's an improved version of the former Subaru engines, which were the EJ series. And if you remember, the EJ series had a timing belt, which you had to change within a specific time, around 140,000 kilometers. Now, this was given a timing chain, which made it more robust, so it will last you longer. And it's one very awesome and beautiful engine, especially the 1600cc and the 2-liter. They are well balanced. If you introduce a turbo, then we'll speak about reliability in a different way. But this particular one, the natural aspirated, are awesome. You can get the FB20 even in Foresters, which is quite formidable, and a statement from Subaru that this engine is quite reliable. Now, paired to this engine is a Lineatronic CVT. Again, for this plant and this car, you know, and the amount of horsepower this car is pushing, the Lineatronic CVT is not being punished, or we are not demanding a lot of power from it. So on this particular car, there's nothing as reliable and as fuel economical as that Lineatronic CVT paired to this FB16 engine. So one thing, this car is quite reliable. If you take care of it and give it the right fluids at the right time, it will serve you quite well. Reason number 6 on why you should consider highly, because the economy is tough and you need something to console you when you're buying a car. And one thing the G4 will give you, this is a 2017 model, and will set you back 2,090,000. Let's just say 2.1 million to be fair and to give a better estimate. If you're buying the Axela right now, it will set you back around 2 to 2.2, depending with which spec. In fact, the Axelas right now for 2018 are going for 2.4 million, which is absurd and crazy, okay? Because they have a new face, a new look. You get it. If you're buying the Volvo S60, you know, it will set you back around 2.3, 2.2, 2.3 million Kenya shillings. If you're buying the Civic might be the cheapest in the group, but again, it'll give you a range depending on the options you get it. Again, all these prices are relative to the quality and the trim of the car. But this particular one, if you're planning to buy it from AUTOSELECT by conversation, or if you pay Carnation Automata visit, wako pale Langata Road, and they have a bunch of several cars at a good price from SUVs down to sedans, this car will set you back around 2.1 million Kenya shillings. And that to me, ladies and gentlemen, for a car like this one, giving you all-wheel drive system, giving you Subaru eyesight technology, a safety features that is well put together for you and your family if you're driving this car or you're hauling your family in this car. I believe this car offers absolute value for money, okay? Getting these things in all this and this package with all that cabin space, come on. Reason number 6, I believe this car is well priced and I know you can negotiate it even slightly lower. If you have a smart tank, you can get it maybe to 2050 or even 2 million flat. So reason number 6 why you should buy this car is cost. This car has a value proposition that is better than most in this category. To the negatives now. So what is the first reason that I'll recommend you not to buy this car? And this one I'm stemming it from the first reason I gave to you, legacy. The Subaru Impreza is known for performance pedigree. And one thing that this G4 will not give you, whether you buy it in a 1600cc configuration or a 2-liter configuration, is performance, because this engine will give you a paltry 113 horsepower and 148 Newton meters of torque. Now, make that worse by pairing the engine to a CVT transmission, and you just get a meh kind of car. So this is not a car you will chase down Axelas, not even Demios on the road, by the way. They will do you bad things. They will do you bad things. So one reason why I would recommend, if you're looking for power, then you're not getting any of that. If you're looking for performance, you're not getting any of that in this car. This car is made and designed for fuel economy, and that's why it will give you an average of 12 to 14 kilometers per liter. Reason number 2 on why you should not consider buying the Subaru G4, which is the Impreza, is cost of maintenance. And this one, believe me, I always say, and I believe so until now, that Subarus are the European versions of JDMs. If you put all the JDM cars together, then you put Subaru in there, and then you look at the cost of keeping this car on the road versus the cost of keeping something like a Mazda XL on the road, you realize these are very expensive cars. I always respect guys who drive Subarus. In fact, if you own a Forester, I believe you're spending even more than a guy who owns something like a Volvo XC60. Prove me wrong, I'll do the cost breakdown. But on this one, I believe the cost of maintenance on this car in comparison to the cars in its category, in its class, the cars that this car is competing with, this car has a slightly higher cost of maintenance. And that is down to the CVT transmission, because the electronic CVT is not a cheap transmission in terms of the cost of fluid and all that. And because I have an expert, let me take you to an expert from CARSURE to give you a breakdown of how much it will set you back to service this car and keep this car on the road.
I'm Alex from CARSURE, and let's look at the Impreza G4 today. Sasa hii gari, it comes in one of two engines, either FB16 1600cc ama FB20 2000cc. Hii yetu leo iko na FB16. It is known for being fuel efficient. Na hiyo inaachiviwa by having looser tolerances. So friction is much less uko ndani. So the car uses less fuel to overcome that friction. That is how you get fuel efficiency and better fuel economy. Lakini the downside is the tolerances kuwa loose, ni ati oil inapita through piston rings much more easily na inakuwa burned kwa combustion chamber. Not enough really kuonyesha smoke ya blue kama zenye rings inapitisha oil mingi, but still you are losing oil. So indicators ni orange warning lamp. Hiyo sasa inakwambia low oil level, ama ukitoa dipstick iko na max 2. Mark ya chini, kama oil iko lower than mark ya chini, you are losing a lot of oil. And finally ikikuonyesha ya red, you have lost a lot of oil pressure, and that is very bad. For simama immediately and consult a technician. Remedies, unatumia higher viscosity oil or thicker oil yenye itakuwa harder kupita through rings. Alafu in case umerealize kuna excess burning, kuna blue smoke kwa chini, consult a professional kama wenye tuko nao CARSURE.Africa. Haya, kuje kwa transmission, inatumia CVT yake inaitwa Lineartronic CVT, na all-wheel drive yake Subaru call it symmetrical all-wheel drive, which is known for being very good, especially kwa hii weather ya mvua hivi. Traction and control iko very very nice. Hii Lineartronic iko na advantages, fuel efficiency, because engine or the vehicle inakaa kwa power band. Smooth acceleration, hauta notice ikibadilisha magia sana sana. Kwa ukitoka kwa jam usikiki ikibadilisha magia ikisimama nini, hakuna hiyo. Lakini disadvantage ziko kadhaa, but ile main ni valve body solenoid, ama ile computer yake huko ndani ina fail. Na indicators za hii kufanyika, one of them ni delayed shifting or harsh shifting. Sana sana kutoka park kuingia reverse, unasikia ni kama ina delay, ni kama itaki. Gari ina feel sluggish. Hata kama uko hiyo drive, ukienda una feel hii gari haiko vile ilikuwa a few years ago. Transmission temperature, AT light inaweza kuwa ikiflash. Hii inakwambia kuna shida. Temperature iko too high, na inaweza kurushia ikiweko kwa diagnostic, inaweza rusha one of these error codes. Remedy ya hii yote, one of them is timely fluid changes. If your technician will recommend that, watch out for his symptoms before if equate catastrophic. Alafu finally, hii CSTI, chunga mambo ya hard acceleration hiyo achana nayo. And now the cost of ownership ya hii Subaru G4. Service obviously. Engine oil ya hii gari inataka 4.8 liters, but utauziwa 5 liters. 5W30, hii ni weight yake. Genuine unapata na 7,400. Of course ukibadilisha oil lazima ubadilishe pia filter, hiyo ni 1,300. Air cleaner yake that 500 shillings. So hii in total ni 12,200 mara moja. Assuming you do service twice in a year, hiyo ni 24,400 shillings. Aya, major service brake pads za mbele peke yake 17,800, nyuma 14,200. Cabin filter ile yenye ina filter the air coming into through your AC system 6,000. Lineartronic CVT fluid yenye tulikuwa tumesema before, if it fails, 4 liters kibuyu ya 4 liters genuine 14,500 as of now. Na hiyo gari inataka 7 to 8 liters, so that is 29,000 for the Lineartronic CVT. Hii peke yake 67,000. For a bonus, hizi gari some of them they are known to have bearing failure sana sana nyuma huko. Hii utajua ukisikia a howling noise huko nyuma as you drive, na maybe tire ABS ina flash. 15,800 for one. Now for insurance, tukichukua comprehensive 3% of the valuation of the car, which is 2.1 million, itakuwa 63,000. So total minor service 24,400 plus. To assume you don't need to change your CVT fluid, so 38,000 plus this 63. So in a year, get ready to spend 125,400 Kenya shillings. Log on to CARSURE.Africa to secure your car ownership experience. Back to you, Ibra.
Yes, boys, welcome to the Subaru Impreza G4. Bila kupoteza wakati, give me you've sat in the Volvo 60. Sawa brother, nataka mkumbuke hizo memories. Sawa Flako?
Yeah.
Tumekaa kwa Axela. Hapo tuko sawa? Alafu sasa tuko na Impreza G4. Hii ni sedan variant. Kuna variant hii gari yenye ni hatchback. Alafu ukitaka ya subcompact SUV kanaitwa XV. XV in the same platform. Tunasemanga XV ni Impreza on high heels. Na kwamba tumeinuliwa juu. Sawa. Sasa hii, give me a general overview. What do you think? You've sat in all those cars. What is your take on this one, Mr. Fabian?
This is more spacious, the cabin space.
Yes.
That's a given. But in terms of comfort,
Yes. What are you giving to?
the 60.
100%.
100%.
Yes. Premiumness and comfort, hiyo tunapatia 60.
For instance, kama hivi tunaona hapa ni cloth seats.
Yes.
Fun.
Flako?
Hii gari iko spacious, fast. Two,
Yes.
sijui niseme build quality ama material imetumika kuunda hii nini. It's not as luxurious.
Yes, but you can get, unaweza ipata hii na option ya leather. But of course hiyo ni trim
maybe
tofauti.
then. But
Wenye sasa 60 zote zinakuja na leather. Hakuna story ya cloth like S60 ni na Mercedes Benz ukipata cloth ulicheswa.
Same price range.
Yes,
I'd rather
ulicheswa.
go for the one that comes with leather. Yeah.
No, but there are other reasons why you need to consider. What do you like about this?
It's spacious.
Yes.
Mm.
Especially hapo nyuma.
Yeah,
Naona
hapa
umekaa
nyuma.
ni kama uko kwa lori.
And it's spacious, lakini it's not as comfortable
Yes.
as a 60 ama Axela.
Okay.
Mm.
Axela.
Yeah, Axela was comfortable. Ilikuwa comfortable.
Mbona nyinyi mnasema Axela ilikuwa comfortable?
Uko na beef na Axela.
Okay. So Axela was comfortable.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Let me come down to something that I like more about this car. Suspension feel. Now, in comparison to Axela, wacha nitoe 60 hapo. Wacha tutumie Axela. In terms of suspension feel, what do you guys think?
60.
Yeah, it's a superior. Yeah, it feels better. It's more softer. It's more comfortable than what you get on the Axela. Na hiyo ni kitu fiti sana. Hawa wanataka kugongana. So wagongane tupate pesa. Tupate our eyewitness. Eyewitness. So now that's one thing that I like about this. In terms of handling, suspension feel, I believe it's superb. Superb. It's a car you'll enjoy driving over long distance. Si gari yetu mbaya. The build quality is awesome. Zoni makelele. And consider now, ukija kwa barabara, sasa mahali penye hii gari na shine more. Ni kwa sababu ya all-wheel drive system yake. So symmetrical in terms of torque vectoring, but ya better grip kwa barabara, especially in challenging weather kama kumenyesha. These are far superior product in terms of build quality, especially kwa on road. The only thing to sacrifice ni unajua tukiita sacrifice ni CVT. Nataka tujaribu tuweke chini uone. Nataka tuweke chini, acha niweka fani kidogo tukufa hapa ndani. Nataka tujaribu kuweka chini mguu usikie wenye inaenda CVT. It's not like it's badly off. Funga seat belt Haya, uko tayari? Tujaribu tu tuone. Hi guys, are ready for a CVT launch?
Yeah.
This is 0-100. Wewe umeshaji protect, unaweza ruka nje from here to there.
Let's go.
And that's the best. So of course the Axela will smoke this car, the 60 will smoke it, the Civic will smoke it. You know, those are hapo ndo penye Subaru alitucheza tu. And I blame Toyota for that. Because now, one thing to understand is this car was designed for laid-back people who are looking for fuel economy, but they still want to own a Subaru. They still want to own the legacy of what an Impreza is, you know, but they want a practical, fuel economical, point A to point B kind of a car. So that's the people that are going to buy this car. Okay? And for me, that sums it up. Mko na maoni ingine tuipatie score? Yes.
You have something.
Hey, me, I'm disappointed
Yes.
and offended
Why?
by Toyota calling this this is not Impreza.
These are Toyota.
This is a Toyota.
To some extent, I tend to agree.
Yeah.
I believe when Toyota
Hata design wise ukiangalia it's a Toyota.
I believe when Toyota came into Subaru, they started doing some few adjustments here and there that I find offensive as well. Na mimi naboekanga na watu wa Subaru na Mitsubishi because they took away the performance credibility of most of the cars that we enjoy driving. Like Impreza ilikuwa Impreza. Hata sasa ukichukua WRX inakuja na engine kubwa ya turbocharged na iko na CVT. Unless upate na manual transmission, it's one very crappy car. Yeah. So I get you. I get the disappointment.
Yeah.
So in terms of points unaipatia ngapi?
7.
7. 7 is decent for a person who's going to buy this car, of course.
Yeah,
7
decent.
is decent. And you?
I mean, I guess.
7. For me, I'll be slightly generous. I'll give it 8. And 8, I'm considering the person who is planning to buy this car. If you're looking for a spacious, practical, fuel economical Subaru, okay, with a CVT, then come buy this one. But if you want performance, nah. Go find something. Maybe buy a Axela or buy a Volvo 60.
60.
So, see you on the next one.